This week on Black Enterprise Business Report, in an industry where there are few African Americans, our power player is changing the landscape. Welcome, and thanks for watching Black Enterprise Business Report. I'm Shon Gables. Coming up, the truth behind which presidential candidate will put money back into your pockets. Plus, our Entrepreneur of the Week makes your gas guzzler a moneymaker. And the Lux Life, planning your next rendezvous, has never been easier. But first, our power player is one of the top architectural designers in the country. He leads in style, innovation, and integrity. Here's why. What do all these structures have in common? They were all designed by award-winning architect Philip Freelon, who is shaping American architecture one brick at a time.
I wanted to create a culture of collaboration.
As one of the only 1.5% of black architects in the country, he left a lucrative stint at one of the largest majority firms in the U.S. to create his own, the Freelon Group.
One of the main reasons I wanted to start my own firm was to get back in to the design realm and really make a difference aesthetically, form-wise, and function of the buildings that we produce.
Although the Pennsylvania native had 12 years of experience and $20,000 in personal savings to start the Freelon Group, its launch wasn't easy.
Our billings, that first year were maybe a couple $100,000. I took a 2/3 cut in pay to do this. Company car gone, all the perks. But I had some savings and I had some equity in the prior firm where I was able to receive my share from that partnership over time, and that helped to get things going.
He also had a very strong support system at home. His wife of 29 years, 6-time Grammy-nominated jazz vocalist, Nina Freelon.
If there's a smile on my face, I said, let's go. Let's go. I'll work at McDonald's. Let's move into a small apartment. Let's make it work. Because my belief in him is so strong. I know that anything he touches is going to turn to gold.
Today, with a staff of 64 and annual revenues over $12 million, the Freelon Group is changing the landscape of the Carolina region and becoming a key competitor in several other cities. A rising star in the $1 trillion architecture and construction industry, Freelon has found a lucrative niche, specializing in the design of African American museums. His most notable, the Reginald F. Lewis Museum of African American History and Culture in Baltimore, Maryland. On average, for the projects that you've done, what were the project costs?
Well, we've been in business for 19 years, so it ranges from rather small all the way up to we're working on the planning right now for a $300 million museum on the Mall in Washington, D.C., the National Museum of the African American History and Culture.
For this prestigious project, the Smithsonian is contracting the Freelon Group to provide pre-design and programming phase services.
We're helping the museum and the Smithsonian Institution to determine how big the building should be, how much it would cost, and then there will be another solicitation for design services.
Freelon has actually become the go-to guy for cities looking to build an African American themed museum or cultural center. Freelon is reportedly working on more African American themed buildings than any other architect, black or white. But museums represent just a fraction of Freelon's group's practice.
In an economic downturn, the public sector work dwindles because banks are less likely to loan, and corporations are more conservative about how they allocate their resources. And so, in the early 90s, it was almost 100% public sector. Why? Because the private sector work just wasn't there. And so now we have a little bit more private sector, but guess what? There seems to be another recession coming along.
Freelon admits he's watching the economy closely as his business depends on having a renewed line of credit. But so far, his credit hasn't been threatened.
In architecture, you really need a line of credit because there's a time lag between billing a service and actually sending the invoice, getting paid, and you need a cushion. You need a relationship with a bank that allows you to cover that span of time. And so it's proportional to the size of work that you do.
Okay, you got about 12.5 million in billings. So what's your line of credit?
Our line of credit is $2 million.
While his credit may not be a challenge, staying competitive while upholding his integrity demanded a serious decision.
You have to make choices about the kind of firm you want to be. And for instance, we don't do prisons. We don't do strip shopping centers. It's inconsistent with our mission and vision. And also innovation is part of what our mission statement, and design creativity.
And although Freelon's buildings don't have a trademark look,
most buildings, the ones that we do, are one of a kind.
Part of Freelon's mission is to only build structures that are environmentally sustainable.
When you hear the name Freelon, you know you're getting a quality architect that's going to produce quality work, and his reputation stands behind him.
And Freelon has the accolades to prove it, with 27 American Institute of Architects awards. Most recently, Designer of the Year by Contract Magazine, one of the industry's most prestigious publications. Still, Freelon says accolades mean nothing if he can't use his accomplishments to help the next generation.
He's got the confidence and just sort of the know-how to sort of be successful in this environment. So it's very much a role model that everyone wants to follow.
Freelon introduces architecture and design to young people through career day presentations and lectures as an adjunct professor at MIT and his alma mater, North Carolina State University.
The whole cycle of receiving this blessing isn't complete until you give back. And he does that. And that's one way of really nurturing that next generation of not only architects and engineers, but successful business people.
Getting the role models out there is one of the key things that we can do, that each individual architect can do to communicate what a great profession this is for young people of all types.
Coming up, Obama or McCain? Who will give you the largest tax credit? Plus, our Entrepreneur of the Week found a creative way to make vacation travel pay for itself.
And Shon, the Lux Life can help you plan your personal and professional life.